It looks like we still just have the one viewer at the moment. I do believe that is you. So, oh, no, we have 2 viewers now. Hello, second viewer. So we have a question up on Edmodo right now. You can choose to respond to 3 different questions. One of them is, what is your favorite car? One of them is, if you had to replace one part of your body with a cyborg part, which would it be? And the last one is, do you think Batman or Deadpool is better? So you can respond to one of those. Let us know who you are. Start interacting here in our live chat. We'll be just spending some time with introductions, talking a little bit about Cinder today, and also talking about how we're going to do these live chats and the rest of our book club as well. But for right now, we're also going to be waiting for some more participants, see who all wants to join us today. Actually, Google Plus, it lets me know that multiple people are watching, and we're actually not going to have, if you'd like to log into Google Plus, you're more than welcome to. The chat function's actually turned off inside of Google Plus. That way all of our questions are going to be happening in Edmodo. So if you wanted to be on Edmodo and you can respond to that first question that we have, we'll be having a couple other questions during the chat and also a couple other things that we're going to be mentioning. Looks like we have 3 viewers at the moment. If you wanted to respond on Edmodo and let us see who you are. Looks like we have a notification on Edmodo at the moment. Let's see what that says. Hey, look. Karen replied to my post on Edmodo. Boom. Excellent. Happened 19 seconds ago. Oh. Chloe responded that she would replace her foot if she had to replace part of her body with a cyborg part. Thank you for responding, Chloe. Good to see you. Or to type you? I'm not exactly sure what that would be. Thank you for joining us today. I think we'll go with that one. And we'll see who else is going to be joining us today. And now it says we have 0 viewers. It's funny. I wonder if that is... That could be a problem with their internet connection, telling us that there are viewers or that there's not viewers. If your video is cutting in and out, please let us know inside of Edmodo. That way we can see if maybe that's a Google Hangouts on air problem, or maybe that's an internet at your house problem, or if you're viewing it, depending on where you're viewing it, it might be an internet problem. So we just want to make sure that we can track that down if it's on your end, if it's on our end, and see if there's other options we can do for our video chats. So yeah, just let us know if you're having technical problems during our video chat today, and we'll see if we can get those taken care of for you. Aha! So Pierce also just responded. Thank you, Pierce, for joining us. Bugatti is my favorite car. My right hand would be a good cyborg part. And he says Batman is better than Deadpool. Thank you for responding, Pierce, and for checking in with us today. And Jordan also responded to a note. Aha! Jordan, thank you for joining us as well. Jordan says that he would prefer a Ford truck is his favorite. He said that he would replace his right arm, and he says that Deadpool is better than Batman. So we have one on each side right now. So Jordan, you're saying your question was, how do you get into the chat room? We're actually going to be chatting using Edmodo today. So there is a link on Edmodo just below where you have responded. And it says first Newfangled video chat. If you click on that, that's going to take you to the video chat that we're in right now. And I'm actually responding to Jordan, who hasn't found our video chat yet, on the video chat. So I'm actually going to respond to him on Edmodo through typing. Give me one moment here. Hey, Jordan. The link below. Okay, grab that link for Jordan real fast. Nice. And it looks like Chloe also responded. She was saying that she would replace her leg also. And Chloe, thank you for letting us know that the video is great and clear. That's appreciated. Thank you, Google, for giving us Hangouts on air, which took me a little while to find, but I'm glad that we found it. We now have 5 viewers on our video chat today, so that's exciting. Pierce says he's still listening. Let's see here. Aaliyah, is that how you say that? Aaliyah, I think she would replace her left hand. Thank you for responding, Aaliyah, and thank you for joining us today. Oh, I have 2 new posts. Nicole says she would replace her left arm. Very cool. Now it looks like we also have some notifications. Okay, that's just letting us know that some people responded. So once again, everyone, hello. This is Nick from the Hayden Library. Today we're going to be doing some chatting about Cinder, some introductions, but for right now we're just seeing who wants to join us for our video chat, and we're seeing if the video is working clearly and if Edmodo is going to be working well with our chat here, and if everyone's able to see me on the video and if it's not too confusing. So we're running through some technical things right now. Feel free to respond to those questions that are over on Edmodo. And if you're having any technical difficulties, let us know that as well. And we can see if we can address those for you, or if maybe that's an internet provider issue, which would be very sad. Let's see here. Do we have any new responses? Aha! Jordan, thank you for joining us in the video chat area over here. We're going to have the video chat where you guys can all be watching a presenter talk to you guys. But instead of having it be that there's 20 different heads across the bottom of the screen, we're just going to have it be more of a live stream where the presenter is going to be talking to you guys and then you respond to the presenter on Edmodo. And instead of it being that the Google Hangouts where the video is right now, instead of having a chat on there and also a chat on Edmodo where people have to log in multiple times, we're just going to have you guys log into Edmodo, chat with us from there, and we'll be chatting with you guys from Google Hangouts, if that makes sense. Now let's see here. Mrs. Wilson, hello, thank you for joining us. She says that her favorite car is a Mini Cooper. It's fun for zipping around. And she says she would love a bionic ear. Apparently I can't say that at the moment, a bionic ear. And she has to think about it, but she goes with Batman over Deadpool. And she also says that Google Plus is so cool, very clear. She can hear and she can see me, no lag. Thank you very much for that input. We appreciate that. And Chloe's saying, okay, here we go. Kelsey, thank you for joining us as well. And she's saying that it's a little fuzzy, but she can hear great. Kelsey would replace her foot, and she thinks that Deadpool is better than Batman. Her favorite car is old antique cars, and not a particular type, but just antique cars in general, which ties into Cinder when she goes to the junkyard and there is an antique car there. Has anyone seen I, Robot? It's a movie with Will Smith, and in one part of that movie, he's driving around a motorcycle. And I thought it was funny because there's another person that doesn't ride around those kind of cars. And that time, the cars actually fly and they drive themselves, set in that sci-fi world. And so they've gone away from that fossil fuel, from gas having to move things. And so the person with Will Smith mentions that, oh my gosh, this thing drives on gas. Gas explodes, you know? And that's all I could think of when I was reading that part in Cinder as well, going there when she's talking about the old technology that was going to be in those cars. Now let's see here. We have a couple notifications over here on Edmodo. We have a new post. Nicole, the video chat has started. I'm going to reply to Nicole real fast. I'm going to give her the link and hope she's able to find her way over this direction. I apologize for my inability to multitask. It's not one of my strong suits, unfortunately. See if Nicole's able to join us. I have a couple notifications over on Edmodo, just letting us know some things that we already were able to see, which is fantastic. Chloe says, go Batman. So she chooses Batman over Deadpool. Good to know. Very cool here. So we are at around 410. Right now it says that I have 7 viewers, but judging by the people that are commenting over on Edmodo, I think we might have a couple more than that. For those that are on Edmodo, hopefully they find their way over to us soon. And let's see here. Have a couple different places where we posted where the link is to get over to this side where you can view us. We're going to be chatting until about 4:30 today, and then we're going to call it quits for this edition of the video chat. Next week, Laura Jenkins is going to be our moderator, and we'll see what will be with there. There's going to be a little bit more reading that we're going to be doing this coming week. And Laura is going to be having some discussion questions and is going to be chatting with us next week as well, Thursday at 4 o'clock. We have, because we were only able to do the first 50 or so pages of the book, we don't have a lot of questions to discuss right now. There was a couple of things that I wanted to read actually from the book. There were an interview with Marissa Meyer, who is the author of the book, and there was a couple of questions that I thought were interesting. I wanted to make sure we gave people enough time to get on to find us over here on Google Plus before we started doing that. So I think we'll give them 1 or 2 more minutes, see if everyone's able to get over and view the video chat with us, and then we'll actually do some of those discussion questions with from the book with Marissa Meyer and see what she thinks about the world building, what part would she replace if she had to replace the cyborg part, and a couple other questions. So it'll be coming up in just a couple of minutes. I want to make sure we give everyone a chance to join us today if they would like to. Gonna jump over here and see if we've had anyone else comment with us. Aaliyah, that's a great point with Peony getting sick there in the junkyard, and that letumosis being that really intense thing that is very contagious. It really doesn't make a lot of sense that Cinder didn't get sick. So I'm imagining it's probably going to come into play later on in the book, but it's something that we haven't quite figured out yet. So we'll have to see why Cinder is immune, if she's not immune, if it's just taking longer to show up in Cinder. We're going to have to figure that out. Thank you for that comment, Aaliyah. Now let's see here. Now it's saying that I have 8 viewers. Thank you everyone for joining us once again. My name's Nick and I work over at the Hayden Library. I'm going to be the first moderator, going to be talking today. We're getting to around 4:12. We're going to be talking to around 4:30 today. And if I'm not mistaken, this broadcast is going to be archived on my Google page, and when that happens, I'll make sure that I post it to Edmodo. That way everyone that wasn't able to join us today is still able to view it. And there was a couple of people that were having field trips today. A couple other people that were still in school had some after school things that they needed to do. So next week, hopefully we're able to have a couple more people that are able to join us. But if you were able to join us today, thank you so much. And I think we'll go ahead and get ourselves started here. The first thing I wanted to do is just ask if anyone has questions about how the book club is going to be working from here on out. And you can post those questions over in Edmodo and I can respond to them here. I'll just give you a quick rundown. I'm assuming that most of you already know this information, but I'll just do a quick run of it. We're going to be doing a video chat once a week. It's most likely going to be through Google Hangouts like it is now. So there'll be a person speaking to you guys through Google Hangouts. And then we'll also have Edmodo logged in on our computers, and we can be interacting with you guys on Edmodo and also through that video chat. And for right now, that's going to be how we're going to handle those video chats. And we'll also have we'll be reading the book by ourselves, and then we can be chatting about it on Edmodo as you guys are doing. Thank you so much for responding to all those different posts that we had. Thank you for introducing yourselves. It's great to meet you. And thank you for posting those questions and things and those wonderings and all those comments that you have on Edmodo. That is awesome. Right now, it looks like we have a couple more people that have responded over on Edmodo. Jordan says that he thinks that Cinder didn't get sick because she's a cyborg, and that is a definite possibility for sure. It might just be affecting those that are organic, rather than those that have those android implants. So that is a good pondering, Jordan. That's awesome. Right now, what I'm thinking is that I'm going to do go over some questions with the author. If you look at your copy of Cinder, which is actually backwards right now because of a video camera, but in the back of the book, there are a couple different interviews with the author, Marissa Meyer. And there was a couple of questions that I thought were interesting. So I'm going to read those questions and read her responses to them kind of for our first chat here. I figured that we wouldn't have a lot of content to be talking about. For those of you that have already finished the book, fantastic. I actually listened to the book a couple of months ago on audiobook. And so I was listening to it on my way to and from work. It was fantastic, so much fun. Really appreciated the book. Aiko is fantastic for those of you who know who Aiko is. So right now I'm going to read just a little bit from Marissa Meyer. And the first question I wanted to read was, what was your favorite part of the world building process? And this is Marissa's response. I loved having the freedom to create my own East meets West fusion in the Eastern Commonwealth. I chose the Asian setting partly because of the history of the Cinderella tale. Many scholars believe that the first recorded version comes to us from 9th century China. But also because I was a huge fan of anime as a teenager, which translated into an interest in Asian cultures in general. With the travel, communication, and technology we have today, we've already seen the lines between East and West beginning to blur, with people from both cultures adopting the fashions and trends of the other. So I took that idea and ran with it, and had a lot of fun bringing in foods, names, language elements, fashion, symbolism, and traditions from all over Asia, as well as some Western influences, such as the old-fashioned ball gowns. She goes on to say, I should also credit Joss Whedon's Firefly, which is a fantastic show, by the way. That's my input, which took a similar East meets West approach to its world building and was inspirational for this series on many levels. So that's what the author says about what she appreciated about the world building aspect of writing Cinder here. And that's what's really cool about the idea of a fairy tale, but also that idea of a science fiction fairy tale. With fairy tales, you are having those magical worlds, but it was also interesting to me how Marissa Meyer was able to take those fantasy epics, that fantasy feel to it, that magical world, but also apply that science fiction element to that as well, and see how those two things kind of blurred and mixed together. I thought that was really interesting. And let's see here. We're going to jump over to Edmodo real fast before we continue on with a couple other questions from Marissa Meyer about the book. See if anyone else has responded on Edmodo. Not at the moment. That's all right. It says we have 9 viewers now. Hello, everyone. My name is Nick Manson once again. We are broadcasting from my boss's office at the Hayden Library. And thank you guys for joining us today. Let's see here. Looks like we have 2 new posts. Karen was asking if you could ask Cinder one question, what would it be? So if you guys wanted to respond to that over on Edmodo, you can do that right now. And Nicole's saying that she's having a hard time getting into the right page here. I'm going to respond to that real fast, which is one. So, and it's something that I thought we might have to do today, a little bit of technical situations. And that's totally fine. Looks like Karen's going to be discussing with Nicole real fast here. A question that I also had for you guys is, what would you guys like to do during our live chats? This is the first time that we've done a book club like this, kind of combining that technology side along with the reading. And so we want to know what you guys would like to do during the video chat. So I'm going to post another question over here on Edmodo. And if you guys wanted to respond to that, maybe have some input or some ideas on what we might want to do during the video chats, what you might want to have those speakers talk about, that would be awesome to have your input on that as well. We'll respond to that in just a second. Let me type this out real fast. I'll be right back. Oh, let's see here. And Aaliyah, that's actually a really interesting question. I was talking to one of my coworkers who just finished the book last week, and she was also interested that the author had said that the setting was New Beijing, but she was interested because she didn't feel that there was a lot of Asian elements that were infused into that world building there. She was saying that New Beijing was mentioned, that a lot of the names did have that Asian influence to them, but a lot of the world itself seemed to be a more generic kind of sci-fi world, and that's an interesting point. Some of the things did seem to have more of a Western feel to them, and that is interesting. If you guys want to respond to that as well, go ahead. You can jump on to Edmodo there. Do you guys, in the parts that you've read of Cinder, do you see parts that do have more of that Eastern influence? Or did you guys see more of a Western influence while you guys were reading the pages of Cinder that you read so far? We have a couple new posts that are going here. So in response to Karen's question about what question would you ask Cinder, Chloe says, how did you become a cyborg? And Chloe, if you keep reading in the book here, it actually will go into a little bit more detail about how Cinder became a cyborg, but it's also partially a mystery to Cinder as well, how she became a cyborg. And then Kelsey, if she had a question that she wanted to ask Cinder, she says, how do you deal with the anger/shame your stepmother feels about you being cyborg? And those are both fantastic questions. If anyone has some inputs on those questions about how you think Cinder might respond, feel free to respond over there on Edmodo for sure. And let's see here. Have a couple different questions. Well, you guys, if you would like to, you can respond to a couple of the questions that are going on Edmodo right now. While you guys are having that chance, I'm going to read another question from Marissa Meyer about the book itself. And while we're reading that, if you want to respond to Edmodo, feel free. And we can come back and talk about a couple of those things as well. Now, let's see here. One thing I thought was interesting is how Marissa Meyer came up with the idea for Cinder and the rest of the Lunar Chronicles books. And this is what she says about it in the back of the Cinder copy that you guys have. What was your inspiration for Cinder? How did you come up with the idea? And this is what Marissa responds. In early 2008, I entered a short story contest with a futuristic retelling of Puss in Boots. I'm sorry, Puss in Boots, not Puss. Puss in Boots, in which Puss was a robotic talking cat trying to convince a plain schoolgirl that she was really a lost princess. I had so much fun writing it that I thought it would be fun to write an entire series of futuristic fairy tales. So I started brainstorming different sci-fi twists on my favorite stories. Then as I was drifting off to sleep one night, it always seems to happen while we're sleeping, which is interesting, I had the light bulb moment. Cinderella as a cyborg. The plot for the entire series started to click right together after that. And that is what Marissa says about how she came up with the idea for Cinder. Now let's see here. Interesting. So a couple of people responding to the question of, did you notice things that were more Eastern culture or more Western culture while you were reading Cinder? Jefferson responded that the names sounded Asian, and he was also mentioning that the buildings themselves sounded Asian. So each of the locations that they're going to. So it might also be in that the architecture of the place itself might be where those Asian influences are coming in. And Jordan also says that Cinder is an Asian name, and that is an interesting point as well. And let's see. Mrs. Wilson also had a response to what would you guys like to see during the live chats, and this is what she says. I like the idea of questions posted, and then people get to respond to them. Just remember that we don't want to have any spoilers while some of us might have finished the book. Some of us might have not gotten to that point yet. So while we're responding, we can respond based on where we are in the reading, according to the newsletter and our pacing that we're going. But let's try not to get into too much of the end of the book if you finished it. That way everyone has a chance to be surprised just the way you guys were surprised. Thanks. And thank you, Anna, for the good idea about reading the author Q&A. And I'm sure there's also a lot of other interviews and things that we could find with Marissa Meyer about the book. And that might also be interesting as we have further chats. And also as we head into July, reading Chomp by Carl Hiaasen. And also when we get into August, we're going to start reading Drama by Raina Trafalgar. I can't say her last name. It starts with a T, it ends with an R, and the letters in between are iffy to me. I do apologize for that. Aaliyah responded to that Eastern/Western culture question, and she's saying that the prince's name, Prince Kai, is rather Asian. And Mrs. Wilson was also responding. She was saying that she didn't notice too much about that Eastern versus Western culture question. She was saying that she was interested more in the story itself, that she was caught up in the story. And she was also saying that she had one of those kind of moments when it was brought up in the question and answer in the back of the book there. Let's see if we have any other responses over here on Edmodo. And Jefferson would ask Cinder, what do you do all day when you're not fixing things? And Chloe mentions that she saw more the Western side while she was reading Cinder. And I think there's a couple of us that also agree with that statement. And let's see here.
And Jordan had a question. How many years in the future is the story?
That's a really good question, actually. Jordan asked, how many more years in the future is this story set? And I'm not sure if this book actually gives us a specific timetable. If I'm not mistaken, it gives us a setting of a certain amount of years after World War IV. So an event that actually hasn't happened. It's that fictional event. And I think they were counting years forward from that event. So that almost reset their clocks for them. And so I don't think we have a specific date in regards to our dates today of when this book is supposed to be set. More of just a futuristic time in another culture. And Nicole said that she saw both the Western and the Eastern side while she was reading the book itself. If you guys have some examples of when you saw the Eastern side and when you saw the Western side, a couple of people mentioned that they noticed the Asian culture when they were in the names and also in the buildings. If you guys have any other examples of when you saw the Eastern influences in the culture or when you saw the Western influences in the culture, feel free to share that over on Edmodo. Right now, we're getting close to 4:30. It is 4:28 right now. I think we can, let's see here. Let me take a look at my notes, see if there's anything else that we want to talk about real fast. As you might have noticed, that half hour, it goes by really fast, but we want to make sure that we're not taking up too much of your afternoon, but we also want to have a chance to get together and actually be responding in real time to each other and also through the video chats. Feel free to continue posting on Edmodo. Myself and Karen and Anna, and I'm sure that Laura will also be responding to your questions and also to your comments over on Edmodo. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you once again for joining us on Edmodo. And I think what we'll do is finish off with one more question from Marissa Meyer. And she was asked what she was like as a teen. And I thought that her response was interesting to that as well. So I'll read that. And I think we're going to be done with our first video chat. Thank you once again for joining us. Marissa Meyer responds like this. What were you like as a teen? A geek is what she says ultimately. I loved reading and writing even then. And I remember sitting in the back of my classes so I could write fan fiction in my spiral notebooks. Somehow I still managed to get good grades though. I also loved anime. My best friend and I used to sneak into the anime club at our local college, which the college students just loved. Haha, note the sarcasm. And of course, I was completely boy crazy, but who isn't? So that is how Marissa Meyer responded to what she was like as a teen. And I think that's going to bring our first video chat to a close. Thank you once again for joining us. I believe this is going to be archived on YouTube, and I'll be posting that link to the Edmodo in the next couple of days here, probably tomorrow if it's up by then. And if you guys want to keep responding to some of the topics that have come up today during our chat, feel free over on Edmodo. And we will see you guys back here on Google Hangouts on air next Thursday at 4 o'clock. And Laura Jenkins, the young adult librarian over at the Coeur d'Alene Public Library, is going to be our moderator. My name is Nick Matson. I'm the Youth Services Specialist over at the Hayden Library. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you guys on Edmodo. Thanks, guys. Okay. And we have, so yeah, if you have any further questions, we'll be on Edmodo, but for the live chat, we're gonna go ahead and end that right now. So thanks again for joining us, and we will see you guys soon.